I actually got Mexican yesterday too, and I felt like I was aging. I was getting hiccups from all the hot food. And then we're sitting on the couch. I'm like, oh man, that salsa. Oh, really gave me some indigestion.
I didn't hear a word you said because I had it on. I had my volume off. I didn't realize it. Welcome to BroCast.
Ooh, Halloween time, October.
It's October, folks. So we had to go with something scary.
Yeah, correct.
So we're doing favorite horror author
/ novels.
/ novels, right? But you need an author to have a novel. I know that's how it works, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about books, but also their movie adaptations. But the
we'll throw some movie adaptations in there.
Right. The focus is on the actual creator. So the author of the original
source
story.
Material.
Yeah, it's got to come from somewhere. So this will be our Halloween theme for October.
Yes. I'm going to get real burnt out doing these.
Yeah, so if y'all haven't noticed recently, my man Josh here has been rocking a serious solo career with these podcasts. He breaks down, I think for October, you've been doing one a day, haven't you?
I'm doing 31 days of horror, yeah. It's one a day, but they're not all single movies. Some of them are going to be like whole franchises in a night, and I got so much editing. And
he must have a job where he's got all kinds of free time. I don't know.
I never sleep. And you'll see some of them are very alcohol fueled into the night.
All that crack that you're doing, that might be hit too. Keeps you awake.
I got a few random people talking with me, and there's crack. Yeah. No, once you watch so many Nick Cage movies, you go to a new plane of existence, and you never have to sleep.
Yeah, he looks like he's on 3 persons worth of crack and no eyelids. He's just like this all the time.
Yeah, I love it.
Please excuse our really cheesy Zoom background. So once in a while, we'll hold something up, and it'll be see-through and.
Yours is completely invisible, I know. Huh?
We're in COVID world now. Everyone's used to Zoom background, so should be good.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I don't have pants on underneath this surface.
Let's all whatever you do, don't stand up or tilt the camera down.
Let's air it out, metaphorically and physically.
Do what my students do, and they don't want their faces on screen. They just do. And I get this in class.
Get scalp.
Got it. Need to see more of you. Okay, there we go.
You have kids just like pass out, just fall asleep?
No.
It's so easy.
No, I mean they're old enough to if they're going to do that, they just don't bother logging in. I get that. If I'm 17, I'm like, yeah, I'm sleeping. I'll catch it tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, so let's start with Josh. Who is the featured horror author you'd like to talk about?
Stephen King. Who else?
Wait to think outside the box.
The master. Yeah, but we're in the Josh box right now.
That's true. I mean, it's not like he's a bad choice.
No. He's great. He's great.
That is incredible.
You just said it. Improvised about 10 minutes ago. Film adaptations too. What person has more movie adaptations to their material? Because he's brilliant. But The Shining is his pinnacle of work, I feel like.
For book.
I feel like if 1,000 years from now they were digging up our current civilization, they're like, oh, it's Stephen King. Let's put pieces together and clone something. So The Shining would spit out of their cloning machine because it is the perfect Stephen King novel.
Why do you say that?
He's great though, and he's what got me into all this stuff. Like even reading, man. I was always a movie guy since I was a little kid, and Stephen King was the first author where I picked up books, and I actually was finally at some point in my life like, oh, I can't wait to get to the end. And everything was fleshed out. The man doesn't skip a beat. I mean, his worst books are better than, a lot of people giving it their all. But The Shining is the pinnacle book. I had to go between them because Misery was the first one I ever read, and I love that to this day. But I mean, quality and fantasticness, iconic Stephen King work. It's The Shining, and I love him because it's a universe. All of his books are related. Like they're all. You read a lot of Stephen King books, you learn to stay the fuck out of Maine.
Well, I knew he was very focused on New England, but I didn't realize they're all.
No, they're all like literally every book. It's like the Quentin Tarantino movies. Every book at some point through there makes a reference to something else.
Really?
From another. And
Give
a lot
me
of
an
them
example.
take place in Maine. And then, God, he just did the newest ones. I don't know if you've seen his newer ones with the time traveler. Oh, at the end of one of his newer ones, the guy goes back in time and has to prevent the Kennedy assassination. And he hears straight like, yeah. But like in that one, there's people talking about a clown in the sewer out in Derry, Maine. So don't go there if you have to. Like they're all, yeah.
That's
even
funny.
if they're tiny things, yeah. But I love that. And they're all personal. Like The Shining was literally written because he was a severe alcoholic, and when you find that out about him, you're like, wow, this was like the Stephen King autobiography.
I didn't know any of that. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Oh well, you're only as good as your wife, and that man's wife has kept him up and running. A lot of his great work too, like Cujo.
Like most wives, deserve sainthood.
A lot of his books too. He says he doesn't even remember writing or like how he came to there because he was such a severe
he was
alcoholic.
Really?
I never have that. I never wake up with like a polished novel or like a perfectly edited short film on my computer like after a night of binging.
I'm guessing he didn't either. That's what editors are for. I'm sure.
What happened?
I'm sure he typed up a bunch of like barely legible garbage. The idea was there.
Well,
and someone had to spend twice as much time fixing spelling and grammar mistakes.
Good. Going back into that, his wife is also his fixer-upper for a lot of his material.
Yeah, you might as well just put co-written by on all his books then. That's
yeah. But and he's just one of the few authors, honestly, where I prefer the source material to the films, which says something considering a lot of Stephen King adaptations are solid films.
Well, and
like The Shining.
For years, I mean, I didn't really read Stephen King, so when I found out that like Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile were Stephen King stories, like,
and it's crazy because it's a huge body of work. Like,
right,
you have things like Shawshank Redemption, and then you go into his horror stuff, or like Dark Tower. That's some of the stuff I've never read, but Dark Tower is like this crazy Western.
Yeah, I heard Dark Tower was like either love it or hate it. It was a weird.
And that was one of his few failed film adaptations.
So wasn't that Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey?
Yep.
Like that should have been just the two of those guys in the movie. I have to go watch.
It was one of those things where they're just like they just relied too much on the books being great, and they just kind of. Also, the movie covers like 10 years worth of books. They tried putting 10 years worth of stories in one movie,
and they ended up skipping 90% of the.
So they just basically nitpicked their favorite things from each book and tried to turn it into a plot, and then
you can't.
It's wild.
You can't.
But no, the man to me is a genius in that sense. The way he writes out the characters, you never miss. It's never boring. It's a great flow. And
so I heard an urban legend about him. You have to tell me if it's true or not. I could probably look it up, but I never bothered to. Is that he got in a accident? Some minivan hit him or something.
Yeah.
And then so after he healed up, he bought the minivan that hit him and then smashed it by hand with like a crowbar.
Yeah,
and people watched it. Is that real?
I want to say that's what inspired. What was it, Christine?
Really?
Yeah, you know Christine. John Carpenter did the adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a killer car.
So that's okay. I didn't realize. I didn't know if that was one of those urban myths that like
all of his greatest work. No, that was real. That was real because that was around the time when he was getting sober and trying to like refine himself as an author, because obviously you start writing differently when you're not just chemically wrapped the whole process.
When you are actually yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I go on and on. Shining though, book to movie, I love it. The book is way different than the movie, but they are both 10 out of 10s. Like,
how's it different? Honestly, I haven't watched The Shining since probably I was in high school. been that long. I remember
The characters are different. There's a lot of like his wife in there. Like he hated Kubrick's version of the of his book, but there's a lot of examples. So like Jack Torrance himself, the book has a happy ending. The movie has a sad ending.
Okay.
In the movie, he chases his family out into the maze. Remember, and he freezes to death.
Yeah.
So in the book, he's like spiraling between being possessed and being normal, and then he runs down to the boiler room after he sees his family leaves the hotel, and he blows it up himself. Like he gets sane for a minute, and then he blows up the hotel and kills himself and the evil, spirits in the hotel.
But he still dies, but he takes them out with him.
Yeah. So in a sense, it was more happy. And then like Dick Halloran, the remember the butler?
Yeah.
The one who could shine, he survives. And then in the movie, you see Jack Nicholson just run up and split him like a wishbone.
So what about the new one that they just made with Ewan McGregor?
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, was that any good?
That was fantastic. And I give the guy props for that because Stephen King wrote Dr. Sleep. And then
so it really is a book that's a sequel to The Shining.
Yes, 40 years later. And it's the little boy grown up. And big surprise, he's a crazy drunk and he drinks to suppress his seeing of dead people. What was I saying? But the Dr. Sleep was the perfect blend of like taking everything from the book and then trying to work it around all the stuff the movie changed or cut to have a comprehensible, sequel while being good to Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, it was nuts. But they're great. It's a great book too. I mean, it's one of those things. It can't touch The Shining, and no matter how good he made it, it's always going to be underneath the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the wife too, the wife in The Shining, there's a huge difference. In the book, his wife is a badass heroine. She's like the Ripley in the book. And then in the movie,
all she does is scream and run. And
Kelly Duvall is just like, oh God, okay. But it's entertaining in the movie though. I'm just gonna bash your brains. I laugh so hard in that movie. She'll just walk up to him and be like, "You stupid bitch, just go away." Just but that is my favorite book. Misery is a close second because they both have that thing. I don't know. You're reading it and you ever read it and you feel like lost in it. You could like feel
all
it's
the
like
time. Yeah. A good novel, that's what happens.
I'm saying it's like such a claustrophobic setting, and then you close your eyes at night and you're thinking about it, and those are some of the few things that actually unnerved me. Yeah, in a sense of reading.
That's actually that same exact feeling, getting kind of sucked into a book like that is what got me on my author that I want to suggest. So mine is the what some people call the poor man's Stephen King. I disagree. I think he's as good.
See what I cut into this?
Say what?
So you'll see what I cut into this?
Oh, I'm sure you're going to do like Family Guy, but that's okay.
Did you watch that?
I've heard about it, but I know what scene you're talking about. So I read a book, Dean Koontz. That's my author, Dean Koontz. When Margaret and I first started dating and went over to her condo to watch a Lions, it was a Sunday morning, and we got there and I turned the TV on and didn't realize it was a bye week, so there's no Lions game. So I'm just kind of like, all right, what do you want to do? She's like, well, let's just relax and read for a while. I'm like, at that time, I didn't just sit and read for, it wasn't for fun. That's what I did because I had to do it for a class. So she had some books that her dad left over her place, and he's a Dean Koontz fan. So she handed me one of his novels. And this is the book I'm going to put a little on screen here. It's called The Taking by Dean Koontz.
I've heard of that.
You read The Taking?
I've not read it. No, I admittedly have never read a Dean Koontz novel.
The Taking, if you're going to start with one, start with that one. It's not part of a series, so you have to read 2 and 3 of them. And he does write a lot of series. But The Taking, I sat down, it was maybe like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and just started reading. And it's one of those things, he's got real short chapters, and the end of every chapter is one of those little hook moments. You're like, oh, hell, I got it. And you have to find out what the heck just happened.
Like a cliffhanger on an episode or something, yeah.
And it was just, I kept going and going, and, bathroom and meal breaks, that was it. Next thing I know, it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I finished the book. I'd never in my life just sat down and finished a novel in one sitting like that. It just hooked me. And since then, I've been reading his books, and they're great.
That's your favorite one?
if I had to pick one book, that'd be that one. He has some series that are incredible, like Odd Thomas. So Odd Thomas, we talked about this before we were recording. Odd Thomas was made into a movie.
Anton
I
Yelkin.
want to say there's 5 or 6 books in the Odd series, so they all have Odd in the title. Odd Thomas is about a teenage boy who has like this weird ability to see ghosts, basically similar to Sixth Sense. But he jams like a ton of comedy into it. So like, for example, the ghost of Elvis for some reason hangs out around him all the time and like wants to hang out with them, but can't make any sound. So it's like silent Elvis is always hanging out around his place doing stupid stuff. But every one of the books is some weird supernatural / crime thing going on. So he's almost like a crime fighter, but it's all supernatural, and he has ghosts and supernatural things he sees. It's all kind of smushed.
Everybody thinks he's a lunatic.
But the writing of it is really, really funny as far as the dialogue between people. So
what makes it smooth?
Right. So the series is fantastic.
Boom.
He also did a series which I thought was really unique about Frankenstein story. So they made a movie. Again, I don't know why they picked,
what was it? Just an adaptation of Frankenstein?
An adaptation of the story. So his version was a modern day Frankenstein. The story goes that Dr. Frankenstein survived, the monster survived, and Dr. Frankenstein used his scientific knowledge to do implants into himself to keep himself living longer than a normal human life. And so the longer he lived, the more experiments he did, the better he made his implants, and basically made himself immortal. Started getting to the point where he could clone people, but the clones were under his complete control, sort of like he wanted to have the Frankenstein monster be. So he has a secret lab in New Orleans, and he'll kidnap important people in the government and the police force and replace them with their clone under his control. Right?
Oh, so he goes out there.
Meanwhile, the original Frankenstein monster from the 1800s is still alive, stalking, trying to kill him. But he was implanted with the inability to harm him. So it's like Bishop in Aliens, right? He can't harm a human or by course of action, right? Just like that, but just with Dr. Frankenstein. So he's this whole time trying to figure out a way to destroy at least Frankenstein's plans, but he can't actually harm the doctor. So he's like basically this big giant, like heavily tattooed, like his face has got tattoos all over it to hide scars. Anyways, it's like a 3 or 4 book series. It's really, really creepy.
I'll take your words. I'll look back on this and find something. I need more scary books.
Yeah.
I do.
So taking Odd Thomas series, Frankenstein, I'm looking at my list. They made, I closed the list. They made some movies. They made one, Demon Seed. I never saw it or read the book yet. But I was looking through the movie adaptations, and it looked like something you would like. It was like a horror movie from the 1970s.
His adaptations look like a schlock fest, and that's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. I don't know why he gets his books get taken up by like the worst directors and writers. It's awful.
Because he's the B version of Stephen King.
Dude, I've seen what screenwriters write for movies. His books are better than most of that crap.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Oh, for some reason, Stephen King sells. We'll edit this back around. I forgot my other honorable mentions: Carrie, Salem's Lot, and I said Misery, and definitely It. If you could handle like 1,500 pages,
yeah,
it is a monster.
Oh,
and it has disturbing things.
One thing about Kuntz, so you talked about King always has that tie-in where there's themes and they sort of tie into each other in all his books. One thing for Dean Kuntz that he ties in almost all his books is his like crazy love for golden retrievers. So I'd say probably half the books I've read of him have a golden retriever is either the companion of the hero or is the hero in the book.
In itself, yeah.
Somehow they're like these wise creatures. He loves golden.
I'm gonna do that, but with pugs.
And there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, though. That was it. That's mine. That's yours. Cool. Also, H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah. Honorable mention for Lovecraft.
You have never, I have a few honorable mentions. Lovecraft, Clive Barker, definitely. He is, you want some pseudo, like, horror, cosmic horror, gay dominatrix, hell spawn books. Yeah. Don't use my adjective for that. But it is a huge theme in there. And then, the hell, William Peter Blatty, The Exorcist, the original book for The Exorcist. One of my favorite scary books of all time.
Okay.
But Lovecraft is the man. He's an innovator. And I'm surprised you never even knew who he was. Oh, 1 second. Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And due to technical difficulties and this idiot.
I see your wife in the other room right now, like.
Oh, Lord. So you just got done talking about these great wines, and I didn't hit record. You still got that bottle there? We'll do a quick version.
I'm glad this didn't. I'm glad this wasn't like the whole conversation.
Oh, Lord. So anyways, my bottle was Ancient Peaks Oyster Ridge Cabernet. Absolutely fantastic. Best cab I've ever had. However, considering it's at the $60 to $70 price point, it darn well better be awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh, what's yours?
Decoy. Okay, limited edition, seasonal Napa cab. Also comes in Pinot Noir and Red Blend, but the cab was the only one that I felt worth ganking and taking home. They're all delicious, though. They all are, but
hard to find because I just looked it up while he was talking, and I didn't see it at Wine and More around.
Yeah, it's toast. It's toast. I got this all in my pocket at work. I took some home. I blinked, and all the computers said out of stock. No more, but I ganked a few bottles.
Trying to get W.L. Weller. Not gonna
delicious
happen.
With steak. Not gonna happen.
Yep.
Well,
thanks for telling us about a wine we can't buy.
Exactly, but Decoy's a great brand. The Sonoma one's good too.
It is. And in all honesty, Sonoma and Napa are literally right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's not like.
But when you're talking from a seller's point and a, people care for some reason.
Let me just throw this out there for those people who want to visit wine country. If you're thinking about whether to go to Napa or Sonoma, go to Sonoma. It's just expensive as opposed to ultra expensive, which Napa is. And there's just a lot of tourists in Sonoma, where in Napa, there's a whole lot of tourists. So stick to Sonoma.
Yeah.
And the wine's still incredible.
Usually my talking point at work when I got customers, they're like, can you get me out to like Napa? And I'm like, can I make some phone calls and maybe drop a Sonoma there? But yeah.
You should tell them, let me tell you about the new Madera wine region.
Yeah, no, what you
got
sell
a guy
home year round and nothing else. Let me tell you about Electra or whatever that crap was.
The which one?
The stuff Amanda liked.
Oh, Quaddy.
Quaddy, yeah. More your pace.
Okay, I get it, and I'm very happy to see a Madera company doing well. I am, and there's a group of people out there, a huge group who love that sort of drink. I get it. It's not just sweet wine. It's basically a wine cooler because the alcohol is like 5%.
Yeah.
It's not really wine.
It's not wine.
It's a dessert wine cooler. It's delicious. And when you freeze it, it makes a great slushy in the summer. But it is what it is.
I like it, though. This is a guy who spent his Saturday morning cold calling for Barefoot's new Blueberry Moscato. I understand everybody's lust for it. Yeah.
Wow. Speaking of horror.
Yeah. Stephen King's next,
Blueberry Moscato.
You're in a hotel. There's ghosts. Every corner you turn, there's Blueberry Moscato. Yeah.
Would you like a sample, sir? No.
I know it's the bartender at the end of The Shining, but instead of giving him his whiskey, yeah, it's blueberry Moscato.
Blueberry Moscato the
and then
whole
he
time.
jumps out a window.
Oh Lord! All right. Well, this was one for the record books here, man. This one's gonna be fun to edit. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, this is a headache already.
I think
It's
I may
a
edit
lot of
this
puzzle
one just for
piecing
fun.
around.
If you don't want to edit, don't have to. I think I'm going to do it for fun today. It's up to you.
Because I have like 90 pounds of footage for my other Halloween adventures that I have to cut through and post.
Yeah. I'll edit this one. It's good. In fact, I'll edit this discussion out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Next month, I'm thinking we do sort of a feel-good kind of thing for Thanksgiving, and then we go into craziest holiday movies for December. That's my thought.
We can do that. Yeah. Thanksgiving will involve that. Whatever time we record it, I'll make sure to have a mountain of food I'm just chipping through next to me.
We could pose a question like, for December, what's your favorite Christmas movie and why is it Die Hard? I mean,
why is it Die Hard?
Why is it Die Hard? All right, guys.
I'll have some great Christmas movie recommendations.
Spread the word. Spread the links. Air high five, Josh.
I'm going to post a link. Go to my channel and watch my Halloween reviews.
The link will be there. The link will be there.
You're going to get cultured. That's the word.
Checking out for BroCast.
Checking out. See you later.
Peace.
Are we on the television right now? Are we actually famous? Make sure you split our screen. I have a checklist for you now. Always recording right when it opens up and not split screen.
Screen is split.